Well, hey folks, here we are, September 18th, 2025. So a little bit more than halfway through September. We have just a month and a couple weeks until it'll be Halloween time. I don't know, what are you doing? You peeing on my tree? Get out of there. Hey, Lokester. I don't know how much more time we have to keep the lawn green. As you can see, it still looks really nice. I just got done mowing it, but it's not nearly as green as it was during the summertime. We're still about mid 80s in the daytime up here. We're about 87, 88 today. That seems to be about the norm for this time of year up here. But at night, we're dipping into the about 52, 55 overnight. I'm still watering the lawn every day, not twice per day now, just once a day. And I've turned it down to 15 minutes once per day at about 10 p.m. I might drop that number down to about 9 p.m. now, maybe about 14 minutes. But we still have some fruit left here on the pear tree here. A lot of it's dropped off. Some of it we've eaten. A lot of it the birds have gotten, the squirrels have gotten, the two squirrels that I know about anyway. We still have some Asian pears over here. I'm just trying to get them a little bigger. And if anyone knows, let me know what kind of pears these are. They're the same shape as the Asian pear. They're just a different color. But they taste pretty similar though. But they're definitely different. You can see that pear, and then you can compare it to an Asian pear, how it's just a little darker. But they're very similar though. Very similar in taste. And then of course I've got all these red pears up here. But these will be dropping off soon the rest of the way, or we'll eat them. Here's a peach tree here. I think I'm not going to prune it too much this winter. I think I'll just prune this side off a little bit so it's not so tall there. Just try to make it so symmetrical. The Rainier cherry, it produced some cherries this year, but it's never really grown well since I planted it a couple years ago. I don't know what's up with these leaves. It gets plenty of water just like everything else. I don't know. Just this one here seemed to struggle ever since the start. The Santa Rosa plum, we did get plums this year. We ate them. They were really good. Well, us and the birds. And I've kept it pruned back the last 2 years. This year I may let it grow. I may just prune these tall pieces off here. But this one seems to do pretty good. Here's my purple robe locust. You can see I've got it in three branches coming up. I try to keep the top pretty thin so the wind doesn't blow it over. Like I say before, that's just like a sucker coming out of the branch there, because I cut this tree totally down because the wind knocked it over, but it's coming back, so I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to try to keep it very manageable. I got to figure out how I'm going to prune this over the winter. You know, like where I need to make my cuts at to make it manageable, because if not, that is a purple robe locust, and they get absolutely huge and out of control. So I need to figure something out with that. Here's the chocolate mint. All the flowers growing here. They finally all bloomed in here and whatnot. There's Mr. Owl. Purple butterfly bush there. Hey, get out of there, bad dog. But I went ahead and did the 45-degree diagonal cut again. I just find it gets like all the stragglers if I go spend a little more time and do it both ways. Here you can see the peach tree a little better. This high portion here, I think I'll bring this down over the winter just a little bit. Probably leave this side alone. I just don't want I don't want to cut it too low, but I don't want there to be too much wind load and to snap this, because we get some vicious winds up here. And of course, there's the pear tree. You can see it there. There's the big cherry tree there. This big cherry tree is usually very healthy. It produced great this year, but it's starting to get those same brown edges around some of the leaves on there. I'm really not sure what's going on with that. There's the Dogalitos. Up here I've got a couple squirrels living in my above ground tortoise habitat that the tortoises never really used. So the squirrels have claimed this of their own as their own. And every day I put peaches and pears and apples and peanuts, and I don't know, I threw some mushrooms out there today that was growing in the grass. I give them pieces of corn on the cob, put them on a spike there, and they come out and eat everything I give them every day. So I'm sure they'll have plenty of food over the winter. Got some hollyhocks here. They're still growing. The ones in the front are pretty much all done, but these ones here are still going. This here's a cosmos, I believe. The wife really likes these ones. So I'm going to harvest these flowers when they dry out like this here. I'll harvest them because these are the seeds in there. And I'll plant them next year because she definitely really likes those. There's my goat. Meh, meh. More cosmos there. I forgot what these ones are called. It's a bunch of wildflowers. I'll probably harvest these too. There's seeds in all of those. Save them for next year. Here's the volunteer cottonwood. And as you can see, it's getting pretty large here. I know it's a horrible place, like I've said before. It's a terrible place. That's where it popped up. I'm going to let it grow for a while. And like I say, once it gets too out of control or it's going to do damage, I'll just cut it down. But I do like having a little something over here. But it seems to be a pretty vigorous grower, so I really need to keep an eye on it. Here's some more of those, I believe they're cosmos or something like that. That's some marigolds. Marigolds are all over the place this year. I've never seen marigolds grow this tall, to be honest. Look at how tall those are. They really grew really tall this year. There you can see the fruit on the pear tree a little better. Look at all the strawberries blowing up in this bucket here. Coming all the way down to the ground, sending runners out. I probably should be collecting these runners and planting them somewhere else. I mean, they're already self-planting in the ground here. Still got some strawberries going on. I'm sure if I dig through here, I can find more. I just let the birds and whatever get them, to be honest. Here's the apple tree. The birds have really gone to town on that, as you can see, and I just let them. Every once in a while, I'll grab an apple, bring it aside, and eat it. But I'll let the birds get them. That's fine. They need food too. Here's Bird Village. There's a vacancy in every house now. No one's living in there this time of year. Here's another purple butterfly bush here in the half wine barrel. Seen lots of butterflies and hummingbirds on it this year. The grapevine's pretty much done. You can see it's pretty much finished. I should have collected all these grapes, but I didn't. And they're just dying or turning into raisins. My other grapevine on the other side of the house, they're still fine. I can still collect those. But it'll come back next year. And the fish pond has turned green once again. But they're all in there and they seem healthy, so I'm not really sure what to do with that, but it is what it is. There's another shot of the apple tree there. I've pruned it back the last few years really, really aggressively. And the pear too. No more this year. I'm just going to let them start growing. Now that I've got the basic shape, the way I want them. This used to be a 2-variety pear. It had two main trunks, but the wind blew the one off. So I've just focused on trying to save this one over the last few years and kind of cut it how I want it, prune it how I want it. I think I've got it decent for what I have to work with. Hey, what you doing, boy? Loke. Hey, Loke. Hi, buddy. Speak. Speak. Good boy. Here's more of these cosmos. Look at all the marigolds. They've really blown up this year. See how big these ones have gotten? I've never seen marigolds get this big before. I mean, these are just tall and huge. These cosmos too. Look at how big they've gotten. Usually I don't see them get this big. Very big, very pretty, very colorful though. I'm glad that they've bloomed like this. Look very nice. Here's the white butterfly bush. This one here has gotten pretty big. If you put them in the ground, they'll definitely thrive and get way bigger, as you can see. Let me back up here. And I cut that to the ground last winter, and this is all new growth this year only here. There's my windmill. I had sunflowers everywhere. I've cut a lot back, but I left some so the birds can eat the seeds. Left some in there for them. Here's a mulberry in this bucket that I need to figure out what to do with. Look at how big it got. It's got to be every bit of 10 feet tall there. Socialized garlic right there. English lavender growing out of there. There's another mulberry. I didn't plant that one. That's a volunteer that came, but it's in that bucket. Got some more sunflowers in here, as you can see, and I'm not sure what these are. If you know what these are, let me know. They're very pretty though. And these are very pretty, some type of sunflower there. They've really grown nicely in this bucket. Here's a Mexican evening primrose I put in the log I hollowed out here. Another butterfly bush. This is a dark night butterfly bush. Another type of lavender plant. Another primrose over there. And we've got some more lavenders and primroses over here. And of course another bucket with a bunch of stuff. And my climbing rose bush there. All right, folks, that's all we got in the backyard. I don't know how many more lawn mowings we'll have for this year. But here's what the lawn's looking like in the backyard. September 18th, 2025. Hope you're all doing well. Catch you later.